OutDaughtered, star Adam Busby makes a vulnerable parenting confession exclusive clip. Raising 6 children is no easy feat, especially when it includes a set of quintuplets. Just ask OutDaughtered stars, Adam and Danielle Busby. And in an upcoming episode of the TLC series, Adam made a vulnerable parenting confession. Season 10 of OutDaughtered has brought a new set of challenges for the Busbys as they continue to juggle work with the logistics of caring for their daughters. Blake, 13, and 9-year-old quintuplets, Olivia, Ava, Hazel, Parker, and Riley. In a sneak peek clip that TLC shared exclusively with Parade ahead of the June 11th episode, Adam and Danielle met with a life coach, Chris, during a couples retreat to discuss their different love languages and parenting styles. When Chris asked them about their biggest takeaway so far, Adam replied, "Realizing how different we are as far as how we want to feel loved." He then turned to his wife and addressed her directly. "We're talking about, like, how I play good cop. And it's just because I want that love and affection from the kids, because I don't necessarily get it from you," Adam confessed. "And so I'm the good cop with them, because I want them to be drawn to me and love me." During a chat with producers, Danielle shared her reaction to Adam's revelation. "It's definitely hard to kind of hear for the first time, honestly, that sometimes Adam plays the good cop just so he gets, the attention and praise and love and affection from all the girls," she shared. Danielle continued, "It's a hard thing to hear as a wife. I feel like it kind of stabbed me in the heart a little bit. It makes me feel really sad because I don't want him to think that I don't love him." When viewers first met the Busby family on OutDaughtered, they were introduced to something the world had never quite seen before on reality television: the only all-girl quintuplets in the United States, born to two very real, very overwhelmed, very devoted parents. Over the years, the show has captured milestones, meltdowns, laughter, exhaustion, and the everyday chaos that comes with raising 6 daughters. But what keeps audiences emotionally invested isn't just the rarity of the quintuplets, it's the honesty of their parents, especially Adam Busby. In a recent exclusive clip, Adam made a vulnerable parenting confession that struck a chord with longtime viewers and parents everywhere. It wasn't dramatic in a loud or sensational way. It wasn't staged. It wasn't a carefully rehearsed speech crafted for cameras. It was simple, raw, and painfully relatable. Adam admitted that there are moments when he feels like he's failing. That confession might sound small on paper, but coming from a father who has spent years balancing public life, work, marriage, and parenting 6 daughters under the constant gaze of cameras, it carried real weight. From the beginning of the series, Adam has often been portrayed as the steady, hands-on dad. While Danielle manages schedules and logistics with military precision, Adam brings humor and heart into the chaos. He jokes, he plays, he builds things, he fixes things. He tries. And trying consistently is a big part of what makes him compelling. But in this vulnerable moment, Adam peeled back the polished layers and admitted something many fathers think but rarely say out loud. Sometimes, he doesn't feel like he's enough. Parenting 6 children, especially 6 girls who are growing into distinct personalities, is no small task. There's homework, dance classes, sibling arguments, emotional breakdowns, health appointments, and the daily challenge of making sure each child feels seen. And when you multiply that by 6, the margin for error shrinks dramatically. In the clip, Adam reflects on how easy it is to get caught up in logistics. Packing lunches, driving to activities, managing schedules, fixing broken things, paying bills. It becomes a checklist, a system, a survival mechanism. But somewhere in that routine, he admits, he sometimes wonders if he's missing the deeper emotional connection. He talks about feeling stretched thin, about walking into a room and realizing that 2 daughters need help with homework. One is crying about a friend's situation, another wants attention just because she misses him, and the youngest is having a meltdown over something small but very real in her world. In those moments, he says, he feels torn in 6 directions. And that's when the doubt creeps in. Am I giving enough? Am I listening enough? Am I present enough? It's a quiet confession, but it resonates loudly. Adam's honesty matters because fatherhood is often framed in extremes. Dads are either heroes or absent. They're either the fun parent or the disciplinarian. Rarely do we see them openly wrestle with vulnerability in a way that doesn't feel scripted. What makes Adam's confession powerful is that it doesn't come from a place of self-pity. It comes from responsibility. He wants to do better. He wants to show up better. And he acknowledges that wanting to be a good father doesn't automatically make it easy. Over the years on TLC, viewers have watched Adam navigate anxiety and mental health challenges. He has previously spoken about postpartum depression, a topic rarely discussed among fathers. That transparency already set him apart. This latest confession continues that pattern of emotional openness. He explains that sometimes he compares himself to an impossible standard. Social media doesn't help. The curated images of perfect dads coaching every game, building elaborate backyard projects, or crafting heartfelt bedtime rituals can make any parent question their adequacy. For someone in the public eye, the pressure doubles. Every parenting decision is subject to commentary. But Adam admits that the hardest critic isn't the internet. It's himself. There's a moment in the clip where he pauses, searching for words. He describes coming home after a long day, exhausted, and feeling irritation bubble up over something small, maybe noise, maybe a mess, maybe an argument. And afterward, he feels guilt. Deep guilt. Because he knows the girls don't see a tired provider. They see dad. That distinction matters. Children don't track the hours you worked. They don't calculate financial sacrifices. They remember tone, presence, eye contact, whether you knelt down to listen. Adam's vulnerability lies in recognizing that gap between intention and impact. He talks about how easy it is to operate on autopilot, to go through the motions of parenting without fully engaging. And he doesn't say this as a dramatic revelation. He says it almost quietly, like he's confessing something he's been carrying internally for a while. Danielle, who has always been candid about the pressures of raising quintuplets, often voices her frustrations openly. Adam's style has typically leaned toward internal processing, so hearing him articulate self-doubt feels significant. It also reflects something larger happening culturally. Conversations around modern fatherhood are evolving. Dads are more involved than ever before, but involvement doesn't erase insecurity. In fact, it can intensify it. The more invested you are, the more you worry about getting it wrong. Adam acknowledges that he sometimes struggles with balancing discipline and empathy. With 6 daughters, there are constant teachable moments. But he admits that in trying to maintain order, he occasionally loses softness. And afterward, he replays those moments in his mind. Could I have handled that differently? Did I listen fully? Did I react instead of respond? These questions are universal. They're not exclusive to reality television families. They're whispered in kitchens, thought in silence during late-night scrolls, felt in the quiet after children fall asleep. What makes this exclusive clip stand out is its simplicity. There's no dramatic music, no manufactured tension, just a father articulating something raw. Adam says that one of his biggest fears is that one day his daughters will look back and remember him as stressed more than present. It's not that he believes that's currently the case. It's that he worries about it becoming true if he doesn't stay intentional. That word intentional carries weight. Raising 6 children requires strategy, but raising them well requires heart. Adam recognizes that logistics keep the household running, but connection keeps relationships strong. He reflects on small moments, bedtime conversations, spontaneous hugs, silly jokes in the kitchen, and admits those are the memories he hopes his daughters carry. Not the times he enforced rules, not the times he managed schedules, but the times he truly saw them. There's also something uniquely complex about raising daughters. Adam has mentioned before that he sometimes feels the pressure of modeling what respectful, loving male behavior looks like. He knows that the way he treats Danielle sets a blueprint. The way he handles conflict teaches them about communication. The way he expresses emotion shapes their understanding of masculinity. So when he admits feeling inadequate, it's layered. It's not just about chores or patience. It's about legacy. The vulnerability in his confession doesn't weaken him. It strengthens the image of fatherhood as something active and reflective rather than stoic and silent. Throughout the years on OutDaughtered, Viewers have watched the quintuplets grow from toddlers with matching bows into independent young girls with distinct personalities. Each daughter requires something slightly different from him. One may need reassurance. Another needs structure. Another thrives on humor. Managing those nuances is an emotional marathon. Adam acknowledges that sometimes he misses cues. And instead of brushing that off, he sits with it. He also speaks about Grace giving himself some, recognizing that perfection is impossible, understanding that showing up consistently matters more than showing up flawlessly. This shift towards self-compassion is subtle but important. Parents often operate under the belief that guilt is proof of love. But guilt, unchecked, can erode confidence. Adam's confession suggests he's learning to balance accountability with kindness toward himself. There's a quiet maturity in that realization. The exclusive nature of the clip lies not in explosive revelation, but in emotional honesty. Reality television often thrives on conflict, but this moment thrives on introspection. It's easy to watch families like the Busbys and assume they've mastered the chaos. After all, they've done it publicly for years. But Adam's words remind viewers that experience doesn't eliminate doubt. It simply teaches you how to navigate it better. His confession also opens space for other fathers to admit similar feelings. Parenting conversations are often dominated by mothers' voices, rightfully so, given historical expectations, but fathers grappling with insecurity deserve room in that dialogue too. Adam isn't asking for sympathy. He's sharing reality. He describes how, at the end of some days, he sits quietly and replays interactions. Not obsessively, but reflectively. He thinks about how to approach tomorrow better. That ongoing evaluation isn't a sign of weakness. It's a sign of investment. And perhaps that's the most powerful takeaway from his confession. The very fact that he worries about being enough suggests how deeply he cares. In families with multiple children, especially multiples, there's an ongoing challenge of individual attention. Adam talks about carving out one-on-one time, small pockets, where he can focus on one daughter without distraction. He admits it's hard to schedule, but he sees how meaningful it is when he does. Those moments ground him. They remind him that connection doesn't require grand gestures. Sometimes it's just a quiet conversation in the car. The clip leaves viewers not with a dramatic cliffhanger, but with a sense of relatability. Adam's vulnerability strips away the polished veneer of television and reveals something universal. Parenting is a constant negotiation between who you are and who you hope to be for your children. His confession doesn't signal crisis. It signals growth. In a culture that often encourages men to internalize pressure, Adam's willingness to articulate doubt on a public platform matters. It challenges the outdated notion that strong fathers don't question themselves. They do. The good ones especially. And perhaps that's why this moment resonates so deeply. Because behind the cameras, behind the chaos, behind the uniqueness of raising quintuplets, there is simply a father trying, sometimes imperfectly, often anxiously, but always intentionally, to love his daughters well. That honesty, more than any milestone or dramatic storyline, may be the most enduring legacy of OutDaughtered. As Adam's vulnerable confession continues, what becomes even clearer is that his self-reflection isn't rooted in crisis, it's rooted in awareness. And awareness, especially in parenting, can feel both empowering and overwhelming at the same time. For years on OutDaughtered, viewers have seen Adam step into the role of hands-on father in ways that challenge traditional expectations. He changes routines when needed. He cooks. He manages carpools. He disciplines. He comforts. But in this exclusive continuation, he goes deeper into something that many parents quietly experience: the fear that time is moving faster than growth. He talks about watching the girls become more independent. The quintuplets aren't toddlers anymore. They have opinions now, preferences, emotional complexity. And Blake, the oldest, is stepping into new stages of adolescence. Adam admits that with each new phase comes a subtle grief, not because he doesn't celebrate their growth, but because growth means change. And change means that certain small, tender moments don't return in the same way. He reflects on how, when the girls were younger, the chaos was physical. Diapers, bottles, nap schedules, endless messes. It was exhausting, yes, but it was tangible. Now the challenges are more emotional. Social struggles, confidence issues, questions about identity. And those things can't be solved with a checklist. That's where his doubt intensifies. He confesses that sometimes he feels more prepared to fix practical problems than emotional ones. If something breaks in the house, he knows how to repair it. If there's a scheduling issue, he can reorganize the calendar. But when one of his daughters feels left out at school or insecure about herself, he admits he sometimes pauses internally, wondering if he has the right words. That hesitation doesn't come from lack of love. It comes from the weight of wanting to say the right thing. Adam acknowledges that raising daughters carries a particular responsibility. He understands that how he responds to their emotions teaches them what to expect from the world, especially from men. That realization can be heavy. He says there are moments when he worries about unintentionally dismissing feelings by offering solutions too quickly. It's a subtle but powerful awareness. Sometimes children don't need a fix, they need validation. He shares that he's learning to slow down, to ask more questions instead of offering immediate advice, to sit in discomfort instead of rushing past it. That shift doesn't come naturally every time, and he admits that. But the fact that he's trying marks growth. There's also something deeply human in the way he describes nighttime reflections. After the house quiets down, after the laughter and arguments and activity settle, that's when thoughts creep in. He wonders if he hugged each daughter that day, if he truly listened, if he balanced correction with compassion. These aren't dramatic revelations. They're ordinary ones. And that's exactly why they resonate. In a household as large and dynamic as the Busbys, individual attention can feel like currency, valuable and limited. Adam speaks about intentionally creating small traditions. A quick coffee run with one daughter. A short errand where only one joins him. A conversation during a driveway walk. He says those moments often feel insignificant at the time, but end up being the ones that linger. He admits there are days when exhaustion wins. When patience runs thin. When the noise feels louder than usual and his response isn't as measured as he would like. And instead of pretending those days don't happen, he owns them. He says something particularly striking, that apologizing to his children has become one of the most important tools he's learned. That vulnerability, a father telling his daughters, "I'm sorry," when he overreacts, models accountability. It shows them that authority doesn't mean infallibility. That strength includes humility. Throughout the evolution of TLC reality programming, audiences have seen countless family dynamics unfold. But what makes the Busbys stand out isn't just the rarity of quintuplets. It's the consistent thread of authenticity. Adam's confession continues that tradition. He also touches on marriage, acknowledging that parenting doesn't happen in isolation. He and Danielle are a team, but they're also individuals navigating stress differently. He admits that when he feels inadequate as a father, it can spill into how he views himself as a husband. Doubt has a way of expanding if left unchecked. But instead of letting it fester, he says he's learning to communicate those insecurities. To speak them out loud rather than internalize them. Because silence, he's discovered, often magnifies fear. Another layer to his confession is the awareness of being watched. Raising children on television adds complexity. Milestones are shared publicly. Mistakes are edited and broadcast. He admits that sometimes he worries about how moments will be perceived rather than simply living them. That tension between authenticity and awareness of cameras is unique to families like his. Yet he emphasizes that at the core, the cameras fade compared to the responsibility he feels at home. The girls' well-being matters more than public opinion. He shares a quiet realization that being a good father isn't about eliminating mistakes. It's about consistency. Showing up again the next day. Trying again. Loving again. There's a maturity in the way he frames growth. He doesn't present himself as someone who has figured it all out. Instead, he describes fatherhood as something evolving. The man he was when the quintuplets were infants isn't the same man he is now. And he expects that to continue changing. That adaptability is part of his vulnerability. He speaks about fear, not dramatic fear, but the subtle kind that lives in the background. Fear of missing something important. Fear of unintentionally favoring one child over another. Fear of not noticing when one daughter is struggling quietly. In large families, the loudest needs often get immediate attention. Adam admits he's learning to look for the quiet signals too. He mentions that sometimes one daughter doesn't demand attention, and that can be deceptive. Independence can mask unspoken needs. So he's trying to check in more intentionally, even when everything seems fine. There's also a softness when he talks about pride. Amid the doubt, he recognizes how extraordinary his daughters are becoming. Their resilience, their individuality, their humor. He understands that their growth isn't happening in spite of imperfect parenting, it's happening within a loving environment. That realization offers him some peace. He concludes his confession not with grand declarations, but with quiet resolve. He says he doesn't want to look back years from now wishing he had been more present. So he's choosing, in small daily ways, to be intentional now. More eye contact, more listening, more grace. For them and for himself. What makes this continuation powerful isn't drama. It's depth. Adam Busby's willingness to articulate doubt reframes fatherhood as something thoughtful rather than rigid. He shows that strength isn't the absence of insecurity, it's the courage to acknowledge it. For longtime viewers of OutDaughtered, this exclusive clip feels like a natural extension of the family's journey. The chaos of raising quintuplets will always be part of the story. But so will these quieter, introspective moments. Because in the end, beyond the milestones and meltdowns, beyond the rarity and reality television spotlight, there is a father navigating love in real time. Imperfectly, intentionally, honestly. And sometimes, the most powerful parenting confession isn't about what you've done wrong, it's about how deeply you care about getting it right.